Radio Free Tatooine presents Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast.
Oshuda, fellow Holotable hustlers, you're tuned into Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast that's better than some and worse than others. I'm Sean, a.k.a. the other Sean, and sitting across the Holotable from me is Josh, a.k.a. the Golden Pop-Tart.
So I wonder at some point after we're like at episode 1000, where we somehow the lost episode that we just did a moment ago, where that just comes back and it's like we can say Galactic War Report, the lost episode, right?
Yeah, so we recorded most of our episode. Well, maybe half.
Yeah, about half.
And Josh just said, hold on, time out. Are we recording? And the answer was no, we were not recording. So we've had this conversation, or a good part of it anyways. And if we say something stupid now, we don't have an excuse.
I know,
we already
right?
fact check ourselves and stumbled through all that. We've got a pretty fun show for you. I know because I've sat through half of it already. No, we're going to be talking. We got some information about Balin's skull this week, so we'll talk about that. We will talk about, you can hear my voice is starting to go too, because I streamed and recorded half a podcast. We'll talk about Balin's skull. We're going to talk about Punishing One. There have been some changes mentioned. That's a whole fiasco that we will get into. And then the big thing is last week, we kind of just didn't realize that some info had gotten out about the next datacron set.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a good look at that tonight, because really, like, you only have a couple days before they hit the tables, and you're going to want to know some of this stuff. I think it looks like a pretty powerful set.
Yeah.
That, and then we'll whine about Grand Arena, which we hadn't even gotten to yet. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thank goodness, because I wouldn't want to do that twice.
I know,
that's
right?
Just reliving that. But first, let's have some positive vibes here, and let's talk about some blurf days. All right, this week we've got a few. We have on the 25th, as this show releases, we have the B-28 Extinction class bomber. Big old goofy looking bomber for your Leviathan fleet that, you know, honestly, when it first released in 2018, 6 years ago, it was bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible, but it was like, where am I going to use this? You know? And it's Sith Empire Trooper piloting. What even does this thing do? But it was a taunting tank, so it's kind of like you could put it a lot of places, like an Empire fleet or wherever you find yourself in need of a tank. But eventually, Sith Fighter was the same way, where it just didn't have a home. And okay, I mean, it's kind of neat. Then Leviathan comes out. They have a home. They have the Mark VI Interceptor, and the other Malgus ship. Fury class Interceptor. And it's a fantastic fleet against most things. Except Punishing One.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll get to that.
We had to put that in there already. So
yeah. And then, okay, so on the 30th, we have a blurf day for Shore Trooper. Similar role, big taunting tank. And Shore Trooper is like the opposite path. Because when he came out, he was unstoppable. Like, what? This dude has a taunt already? That's nuts. How can I possibly? And now it's like, I don't know, maybe he's on your Iden team if you have to reach far enough to use an Iden team.
Yeah.
That's about it. But, you know, for a little plug and play taunt for a voluntary vanguard in Conquest, maybe something somewhere around there, it might work.
At least has a great nickname. I mean, anytime you can be called Shorty, I mean, that's pretty good.
Shorty.
I mean,
absolutely. And then on the 31st, everybody's favorite, the Halloween Blurf Day, the Night Sister Spirit, and Zombie. Gotta love that.
I'm just glad I don't have to do those events anymore to get those shards. And that was a time. That was
roll those dice.
I know, right? And I'm glad it wasn't from the beginning because I mean I think about it and I'd always end up getting the one I didn't need. And yeah, but
frustrating. All right, let's take a look at this week's upcoming in-game events, brought to you by SWWFGoH for a complete list of past, present, and future events. SWWFGoH is a universe of info in a galaxy of heroes. Now, this week we've got... Let me just preface by saying I'm sorry. I'm going to give you some news that's going to hurt.
Yes.
It's going to be... But that's what friends do, you know. Sometimes you have to. A real friend is going to deliver some bad news, and they're not going to hold back. And that's what I'm going to do for all of you. All right, on the 25th, we have an Endor escalation. It's not so bad, right? Then we also have a Galactic challenge on Kashyyyk. It will be bonuses for Night Sisters, and you're up against Galactic Republic. Now, we don't know. This could be easy peasy, lemon squeezy, or it could be Great Mothers, and you can't win with others.
Yes, there you go.
So I'm always a little nervous when there's like a new-ish faction or a character in a new faction that is required in a Galactic challenge because they might do us dirty. They really might. We'll see. On the 26th, we just have an assault battle, Places of Power. That's going to be a good day. I like that. That'll be a Saturday. Saturdays are great. On the 27th, we have Galactic Bounties 1. That is the one where you are playing as bounty hunters, and you're going after shards of some characters. I don't know who. On the 28th, here's our little moment, all right, where I'm just going to be brutally honest with you. The 28th is going to have territory battles starting up. Light Side or Rise of the Empire. There will be a Galactic challenge that day. And it's the start of the next Conquest. So buckle up, Buttercup, because it's coming. And an Omega battle on Endor. So, like, there's no escape.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, when you really think about it, it's like...
Probably my guild will have a raid going that day. So
oh, yeah, that's what that would be the... I mean, actually, looking at where we are, we might be actually doing the same thing. Man, that's... Well, I mean, let's just say that you're going to have to spend a lot of time on the toilet and just let your team know. Oh, it's a Saturday, actually. So, right? No, it's a Monday.
Hey, I got a toilet for every day of the week. Let's do this.
But yeah, I mean, it's and this is the last event for Conquest, so that means that we have the new datacron. So I mean, it really is going to be one of them where you're going to want to get it done as quickly as possible so you can farm those datacrons. So I mean,
and those first couple of days are pretty important. Yeah, for sure. Make sure you get your good data discs. Like, go in there with a strategy. You can do this. On the 29th, we have Ghost of Dathomir. So we are doing a little Halloween-ish stuff, right? Your zombie and spirit shards. And then on the 31st, we've got a Stardust transmission. For any of you who have not given up all hope on your profundity, that's your day. That's your big day.
I've already given up hope, but I got to do it still. So
hey, it's still good in territory battles. Yeah, say that. I mean, when it does well, it actually doesn't do well anymore. Never mind. I'll shut up.
I mean, the nice part is I mean, I went against an executor team that didn't have the Punishing One in there today. So, I mean...
Oh, that feels good.
That was nice, and it just ran through like butter, so that was great.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I did realize that my Punishing One didn't have any of its abilities going, and it still took down Galactic Republic, so I took that. So that was perfect.
That's a win.
I know.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry. Grand Arena too early. Retract that.
Yeah.
I'll say it later
Teaser.
on. So, yes.
You won a match. We know
Maybe.
that, so there's the silver lining there. I don't know.
Not last week, but this week.
Let's see. That's all of them. That's all of them. So, like I said, I'm sorry. Monday is off limits. I'm gonna get on Teams and block off my Monday.
There you go. Right.
I'm not available Monday.
PTO
All
day.
right. Now, before we get into this week's top stories, I want to give a quick shout out to our fantastic Patreon supporters. If you enjoy what we do and you want to be part of our exclusive community, head over to patreon.com/Galactic War Report. Your support makes this podcast possible, and you get cool features like you can join our weekly Doth chat or get new episodes a day early. Just, whatever. Just give us some money. We want
It's the honesty
that.
again.
We
right?
want that.
I mean, that's a theme.
I am an honest friend. I'm telling you bad news. I'm saying I want money. Yeah. All right. With that said, punch it, Pop-Tart.
All right. Why don't we start with the puzzle that was out there? And then usually when we get these, the community comes in, they do all that they can to get it. Now, I don't participate because that's tough stuff, but thank you guys for the ones that do that.
Yeah.
Right. And
I watch from the sidelines. Sometimes I'll be in the server watching the messages fly, but
I'm just like, those are the smart people. So,
yeah.
So at the end of it, what did we get? We got a preview. Not even what the... Sorry, let's positive start. You get a preview of the kit of the moves and the leader ability. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't show the kit.
What do they do?
I know, right? It doesn't tell us any of that. So again, it's... but, there's still some nice words on here. So let me read the words real quick for you.
Someone worked really hard on
I
those
know,
words.
right?
You
It really did, right? So on the basic, it's called That Was a Mistake. I'm not saying that's what it was for the preview and everything, but that's just what the move was for basic one. But now,
Sure.
special one is One Must Destroy. Now, special two is called Power, such as you've never dreamed. And lastly, the leader ability, which we know is going to be great for those mercenaries. It's all...
inevitable.
There you go. So, yeah, I mean, thank you for letting us know that. Now, we do know this means that we're probably going to get the kit here in the near future. So that way we truly get to understand what these are.
I guess that's the exciting part, is that we learn about the kit soon.
And, I mean, for myself, it's really looking at this mercenary group of just what's going to be able to plug into this. What is it's going to be like Leia was, where truly those last two rebels just don't matter anymore. They just are just part of the journey. And I mean, it'd be great for some of those mercenaries to kind of get a facelift and do better, like Old Man Boba.
Old Man Boba?
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be nice.
Give him a home.
So,
been wandering the desert for too long.
Right? Poor guy. He's not even been in the back to tank yet. He's still ugly Boba too. So
he's Tusken Boba.
All right. But looking at kind of that piece to it, we'll see what happens. Hopefully soon we get to that kit. And I did go back and take a look at kind of like the outline of him, what he looks like. And I'm looking forward to seeing what his actual image looks like as well. So
yeah, I feel like this is where shrinkflation has gotten us. Like where we used to get puzzles and we'd get oh my God, Darth Malgus is coming, or like big info, and now we get, here are some words that Baylan Skoll said.
I know, right?
In Ahsoka. I'm sure you watched and know this already, but here are some of our favorite lines. And it just feels like it's the don't forget to drink your Ovaltine.
Yeah, right.
All right. We solved the puzzle. Cool. Whatever.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. It's a little more fun than that, but it feels kind of cheap.
Well, I'm excited for the kid. I'm excited for the whole thing. It just, we'll get there. I mean, we got a couple days beforehand. I mean, a lot of the characters, like you were saying before, just they're not even ready to go yet.
We should be finding out soon who the next Conquest character is, too.
Oh, true. Yeah, because we have.
This is the last Conquest for Ezra, so I would think within the next couple weeks. I wouldn't expect it in the next couple days or something, but we're definitely going to be getting close to figuring that out.
It'll be interesting because I do think that. I mean, do you think there's going to be more for Ahsoka? And they wouldn't do 2 Ahsoka conquests.
Maybe. I mean, maybe the Sabine, an updated Sabine or something. I don't know.
Man, what's the droid's name again?
Hu Yang.
Yes. I mean, I would love that. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, even though, I don't want to be a conquest character, but still.
Sure. It probably won't be those two, but, certainly possible.
I guess we will see.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So that was kind of the news. There you go. So let's talk a little bit more about the basic again. That was a mistake. Oh, I actually know the punishing one.
Punishing one.
I mean, so we have this situation where we get this ship. We talked last week about the kit and how great that was, and how this is going to work for 3 stars. This is going to be crazy great.
And early usage shows that it does, in fact, work pretty well at 3 stars. I can't be bothered to try it in Arena because I'm just, I don't know. I'm checked out. I'm aloof in Fleet Arena.
Yeah. I mean, the hard part too with it being 3 stars, it's not, it's going to be temporary. You're going to beat whatever you're going to beat, and then you're going to get beat. So, but I think the biggest thing that came out was, and of course, anytime you have a character or ship that's put in the game, and all of a sudden, a little bit later, you're like, we're investigating ... Well,
like as in a couple hours later.
Yeah, a couple hours later, right? I mean, it's that scenario to where great. And of course, the first thing that we thought, and I thought, was, okay, here comes the nerf, which, I mean, I still wonder with nerf sometimes, like it's nerf or nothing. Like I think that is as a fun thing, but not as a negative. But yeah, either way.
Yeah.
Sorry. But what is happening, unfortunately, is it's working great against everything else. So they are loving the fact that it is destroying Radis and his group, right? So I mean, now the problem is unfortunately it's actually going and hitting Leviathan a little bit too hard, and so. With that, though, they have decided to tell you how to counter it. Which, can you remember any other time in this game where you had a situation where something's not working right and they tell you basically how to beat it or use it?
I don't think so. I don't think that is a thing they have ever had to do to tell the community how to win.
Yeah. I mean,
it feels so weird.
It does. It does. Because normally it's the opposite. It's like they throw something at you. You have no clue what it is, but then you have to decipher. Have you ever played that in like where you actually have some random thing that's thrown out and you have to make up basically what it is and what it does for you? No.
Oh, yeah. Like a role play exercise. And, tell me this thing.
Yeah. And so basically that's what we get. And then I think it's a fun part of the game in some ways. You get to figure out, not me, but other people get to figure out how to use it and how it works. Well, you guys were using it wrong. And so since you were using it wrong...
You dummies!
So what it is that basically tie dagger, if you use that on your Leviathan on the field at the beginning, it's truly going to be a better counter against that. Now, the downside is, in which they have identified, that mirror matches just aren't going to work if you have the tie dagger up front. you basically, if you put that in Fleet Arena, you are going to get beat. Yes, you will beat the Executor, but they're going to beat you as well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the idea is they don't want to go through and actually change a Punishing One because it's doing exactly what they wanted it to do, except for, unfortunately, make it to where you can do a mirror match.
I think the recommendation to start Thai Dorito instead has been brought to you by Frito-Lay. It's all part of a marketing ploy.
It is, yes. That was the whole thing.
No, okay. Let me say what they did right. They did not sell Punishing, and I feel dirty saying this even because it's like so against my hippie nature, but they did not introduce Punishing One as this really powerful new ship, get a lot of people to pay a lot of money to get it and max it out, even though you don't need to, and then nerf it, thereby kind of bait and switching, right? They didn't do that. And as much as I look at this game as like, there's plenty of other games I have played where they go through and do balance updates all the time to make it more fun. That's not really the kind of beast that this game is. And that's not like me just being a shill for CG or whatever, but it's not really like how it works. You have to kind of introduce change by introducing new characters and ships and stuff like that instead of messing with the old ones. So my point is, it would have been worse if they would have just nerfed Punishing One. That said, I don't like Punishing One. I think it just is not my favorite ship. Ships that have specific call outs that are like, hey, profundity's too strong. Okay, well, let's release a ship that just says profundity can't win. You know, like that's lazy. And I know lazy because I live lazy.
Yeah.
So anyways, but that said, nerfing it would have been the wrong call. I'm curious to see what the buffs are that they're going to add to Thai Dorito. What's it even called? Dagger, yeah. Because they mentioned they're going to look into putting some buffs on that to make it the desired ship to start. And I guess, you know, if they do that, it all kind of works out. You know, it's just screw you profundity. Yeah. Like that's the loser here is profundity.
That's the tough part for me. You know, I mean, it still goes back to just with ships itself. It's very stagnant or horrible. I mean, depending on what you're thinking, right? I mean, but on the other side of it, it's predictable.
I'll accept both of those.
Yeah, I mean, in most cases what you have to do to beat that because there's not a ton of them. So this does change stuff. And I never like it to when there is something that you just can't beat. And I know at some point it's going to be different, but, you know, I mean, when's the next capital ship going to come out? Because, I mean, at this point, Leviathan, we're above a year and a half?
I mean, we're almost a year without any new ship, though. Yeah. So that's the pace at which we move. But yeah. I mean, I think it's reasonable to think some kind of new ship could come out, but I think they're intentionally that their pace is slower in ships. They don't want it because they don't want to worry about it. Honestly, I wouldn't. If I was them, I wouldn't want to be trying to balance two metas all the time.
True.
Or not even two. You've got a Grand Arena meta, a Territory War meta, a Fleet meta. Like, it's
a lot of metas.
Datacron meta. My God. So much.
What? Datacrons? I mean, that was a perfect segue.
That was accidental, but let's just ride that segue.
I know, right? I mean, hey, and like I said, this is the second time we're doing better on the second time, by the way. Like,
yeah. Can you imagine the first time was worse than this. It was so much worse.
Isn't that great? Like, there's someone like, oh, great, thanks. So this round is called No Mercy, which again, which is pretty awesome that last weekend you played some No Mercy, right?
I think so. So I went over to a friend of mine's house and played a wrestling video game for Nintendo 64. And I honestly, I'm going to Google it. I can't remember if it was No Mercy or... No, it wasn't No Mercy, because that was a WWF
it's a WWF
game.
And it's WCW is the Revenge.
I played a WCW, and I think it was Revenge. Yeah. So, anyways,
one of the best games out there. But.
Diversion, but an important point in this diversion is this is an old N64 wrestler. Those are some of the best games ever made. Those THQ wrestlers for N64. I'll die saying that. I'll literally be saying that while I die.
I want to say preach. I was just thinking like preach. I'm like, well, I don't usually say that, but
it's. I was curious how it would hold up, and the graphics, not at all. The fun, 100%. It's still they're just the best.
Oh yeah,
the best.
So why don't we start?
What were we talking about?
Datacrons. There you go. Yeah. So why don't we start first with kind of the character piece? Because I think that's truly, whenever we get these, the first thing we look for is, okay, what's going to be basically the thing that's going to take over? Like when Bane came out, right? I mean, what's going to be the thing that we get most excited about?
And that's the flashy thing, like. So I think there's a lot of good ones, and there's others as well. I think the ones that stand out to me right off the bat, there's a couple. There's I think Maul is concerning a bit, especially after having gotten absolutely spanked by a Lord Vader team today in Grand Arena. So the first time Maul is defeated, he's revived with 100% health. Okay, so that's annoying. Also, keep in mind, like, you have to deal with all those taunts first that he bounces all over the place. So another level of annoying. You finally beat him. He comes back with 100% health. He gains health over time, 75% for 2 turns, which, all right, also annoying. And he takes a bonus turn. And that's the killer, because his bonus turns are not guaranteed to just be a bonus turn. He could turn that sucker into a lot. Now, I'm curious if he is revived, if he keeps his stacks of hatred or whatever it is, or if he starts that fresh. But even if he starts it fresh, he could hit you a few times.
Yeah. I mean,
because he starts with 2 stacks of it, right? I think so.
Hard part though is this is definitely not an offense crown though. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Just like this has to be
point. Yeah.
Like, and I think sometimes I'm thinking, man, if Maul had one on offense, that'd be awesome too. Because sometimes I keep them for offense, but I don't always use them, which is annoying a little bit because that's a great team.
That's a nasty cron. The other one that stands out to me right off the bat is Grand Inquisitor. And this is because it's 2 things. One, it's just good.
Yeah. Yuck.
But it also stacks really well with some of the other abilities that you can get on these datacrons. So while Grand Inquisitor is active, Inquisitorious allies are immune to fear and stun. All right, that's annoying, but whatever. And whenever an ally or enemy is defeated, Inquisitorious allies gain 50% turn meter, damage immunity for 1 turn, which can't be copied, and their cooldowns are reset. So even if it's not your character, if you're going up against a Reva team, which is already a significant defensive team, you go up against this and you take one of them down, they all just got 50% turn meter and damage immunity, and their cooldowns are reset. That is gross. Now, you stack that with some of the options for unaligned force users. Oh, we should say did we mention it's unaligned force users, Old Republic, and Mercenaries are the 3 factions.
We did now, though. So
Some of these, like you think of that, and whenever an unaligned force user defeats an enemy, they take a bonus turn. Kind of nasty. But where's the other? Yeah, first time a unaligned force user falls below 50% health, they gain damage immunity for 1 turn and health steal up for 2 turns. So it makes them much harder to kill because they're going to spark that damage immunity. And when you finally do kill them, they all get their cooldowns reset in a bunch of turn meter. And then they're going to start killing you, which is also going to spark more damage immunity and turn meter. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I feel like there was another UFU one. God, there's one where they start with damage immunity.
That's the one I was thinking.
That's gross too.
I mean that works great for that Reba team and also to the Malicos.
Oh, there it is. Whenever a dark side allies use a special ability, they gain 15% turn meter. What? That's stupid. There's the return of that 15% max health and protection for each other dark side ally. Dark side gets that. Light side does not. Rude. And the other that I was saying it stacks well with is whenever an ally or enemy is defeated, dark side allies get 10% turn meter. So with that, someone gets defeated and suddenly they get 60% turn meter now. That's
a lot.
Oof, that's nasty. Nasty. What about you? What ones kind of shine in your opinion?
I mean, I'm very, I'm like an open book here. So obviously for me, the first one is Starkiller. Now,
absolutely.
Right off the bat, I mean, just like this time around, I had Master Qui-Gon's just because I wanted to. Now this one, I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, Starkiller is just one of my favorite in the game and outside the game. So, but on the other side of it, when you look at really what the ability is, it's pretty dang good. So whenever another ally uses an ability on their turn, Starkiller assists, and then also increase the damage for 50% more damage. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, that means that
that's sick.
You have an opportunity really to use this, maybe not with Palps, because the other one I was looking at was actually going to be Mara Jade's. Now, basically with this one, at the start of any other than Palpatine's turn, she gains Loyal Hand, which obviously helps a ton. And whenever an ally has less than 100% turn meter, gain a bonus turn meter, then gain 3% critical chance, crit damage for 1 turn. And then when someone's inflicted with shock, they take damage of up to 10% of their max health. So I'm hoping with this is that you can take Palps and Mara now and make that just its own team. And they're just going to continue to kick butt with that.
Yeah, you look at that interaction. That's nuts.
Yeah. And again, when you go back to what you were saying earlier about the dark side in getting the more turn meter on that side, it really feels like that team's going to be spruced up a little bit. Then you can take Starkiller, maybe put him on another team, and then now you have 2 decent ones on there. So I'm pretty excited 100% about that.
Keep in mind, she's an unaligned force user as well, so she gets that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones in here.
But yeah, you look at that. Whenever an enemy is inflicted with shock, they take damage equal to 10% of their max health. How often does Emperor Palpatine inflict someone with shock? If you set it up right, like literally all the time. Like they don't get to take any turns anymore. He's just going to shock them. And it's always his turn. And he's always gaining that turn meter, which is raising his crit chance and crit damage.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty dang good. Now, what's funny, though, is I keep on looking at Karth's going, maybe he'll be better. But then you realize, too, it's still, not the greatest team in the world. But this is one, like, when Sidious came out and it was like 40 text long. Yeah. This one I'm going, man, this one has that.
There's some potential there. I think with, particularly comboed with Canderous, just stacking a ton of dots, and Karth does a special, it triggers all the dots on all enemies. That I can definitely see that being good. And an enemy's defeated, he gets 100% turn meter and stacking offense and crit damage. So like, it's almost like one of them died. Now it's my turn. I'm going to kill another one. Oh, he died. Now it's my turn. I'm going to kill another one. You know, if you could pick one off, he turns into a monster quickly.
Yeah. And I think the last one for me to point out here is just it's going to be Malkos. I think he's another one that is just such. I mean, defense, offense, you name it, it's going to be great. And so what happens with this one? He starts off with 5 stacks of Edge of Madness and 3 stacks of Resilient Defense, and so that's great, right? And also too, here's the thing: is if we also have it with the damage immunity start, that means basically he's really taunting for a turn there, and then he's gonna not be able to get hit, which is great. But then the first time Malkos gains 20 stacks, he also gains a bonus turn, which then resets his cooldown. So I mean, it's gonna be saucy. It's
nice, and like in the past, you want to wait to do. I forget his move names, but not the one where he's throwing rocks, but the other. You don't want to do that until he gets 20 stacks, because when he gets 20 stacks, that thing is sweet. Now you can do it whenever, because as soon as he gets 20 stacks, it's his turn and the cooldown is reset. Like, yeah, I mean, that's going to make, I'm sorry, Ray, but you are done.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that counter was already pretty good, but that's going to be, and I'll be honest, I was thinking maybe he might get my next Omicron because like I use him all the time against Ray and it usually works, but like, let me take a quick little tangent again. As I upgrade different characters, and I'll talk about this more, I guess, when we get to who we're grinding, but like, I think that something people don't talk about enough is like people put out lists all the time of what are the best Omicrons, right? And often the big factor is this Omicron is transformational. It turns a team from a nothing into a something. Great example is Dash Rendar. That team is until you get that Omicron and you're like, oh, I see. Like they just keep coming back. Treya transforms the team, right?
Yeah, definitely.
There's certain things that you look it up on .gg and you're like, oh, I can beat this team with Night Sisters. No, because you don't have Marin's, right? Like some of those really, really, really affect it. But I think what people often overlook is the value in Omicrons that maybe aren't quite as transformational, but they're on very important teams.
Yeah. So
like your Drogon, it doesn't change him fundamentally, but it's very nice for a team that you do not want to lose.
Yeah.
You lose a match where you're using Leia. If Leia didn't take it out, you're done, son.
Yeah. You quit. Like you're done for the goal time.
So I think that and Malakos fits that bill. I think Starkiller fits that bill. Investing heavily in their Omicrons shouldn't be taboo. I feel like people kind of shy away from it and like, well, you could have had Luthen. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe that team, I'm not ready for it yet. Like, or for whatever reason, I struggle with beating this certain team. Well, let's look at what I use. Maybe a little boost would help them out, you know? So anyways, all that is to say, I was thinking about that for Malakos, but after reading this, if I can get this datacron, like, I don't think I need that anytime soon, you know?
So I do have all 3, to be honest.
I've got all but his last one. I think it's the one where you throw rocks. I don't have that Omicron.
I mean, but I get you. I mean, if it's still beating, you know, in winning,
it is
without it,
usually.
You know?
But like I said, like if there's that one match that you would have lost, like it just feels so bad to think like I didn't upgrade him all the way. You know, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's
we're all a little bit crazy.
All right, let's do. I mentioned we were going to whine about Grand Arena. It's time to do so. Be sure to, if you want to see me whine in real time, you can check me out on Twitch. I am theothersean on Twitch. My old streams are all available on YouTube. Just search up theothersean on YouTube, and you can see my streams. I export them there because they don't live forever on Twitch, so they live forever on YouTube. All right, let's do this. How has your Grand Arena been going, Joshua?
Well, let me read this off to you exactly how I put it in the notes. Round 1, loss. Round 2, loss.
Sure.
Round 3, loss.
Yeah, that's what we call a streak right there.
It's like the streak in the draws where you don't want it. I mean, it just, it's that.
It's the bad streak, yeah.
It just means that you didn't prepare enough and process the whole way that you should have.
Or wipe correctly.
There you go, right? So, I mean, it was pretty crappy, so I guess this whole round, so I guess you got some great... so it really was a rough one for me. Round 1, I completely forgot. I was an idiot, and I think that really set the tone. When you don't even attack because you completely forget, like at that point, I mean, it just wasn't going to work. And so then I got to round 2, and they had to basically, so they were probably maybe 2 million GP ahead of me and really tough defenses. And they full cleared me, and they had to do it with basically just nothing. Like they did it with like underman teams. It was 1830 or something like that. It was nuts. And
a whooping.
It was.
We call it. Yeah.
And so then I got basically Leia was on defense. Leia couldn't make it through. So then I got into round 3. Same thing. I basically lost 4 at the beginning, and then I just kind of stopped, and I ended up getting 10 points. So it was a challenge. And so I actually, for the first time in a long time, I actually did the Grand Arena for this round. And all I want to say is my first attack that I had is my first time having Luthen being okay. I'm not saying he's great. 1 Omicron. And I thought, well, let's have some fun with this. Let's go against Rey. I mean, I do have the datacron, and I was able to stream it just for a moment to show you. And, it worked. It worked handily.
It was surprising. Yeah.
And it's not even your good one with Pow in it. I mean, so that was a lot of fun. And then I'm like, all right, so while we're, doing DOS chat, I'm going to finish the whole thing. And I went through and did a full clear. I didn't get over 1800, but I will say at this point, I hope they look at it and say, nope, I'm not going to do it, and just give it the old college try of 1. So,
yeah.
So again, loss, but a new win. So I feel better about this week already. I already know it's going to get better. So how about for you? How was your Grand Arena?
You've weathered the storm.
Yes. I'm all cried out.
I'm right there with you. No tears left to cry. I am just kind of finding my place in Kyber 3, and I'm feeling more and more like it's where I deserve to be.
Oh, it's never good.
I don't know, man. Okay, so round 1, I go up against Tiali Shoma. I think I had already done that last week. I put up 1812, which I felt all right about. They put up 1833. So,
oh wow,
whatever.
Yeah, that's
I lose.
Dang good.
Second round, it was sloppy. My Slicker couldn't beat Jabba. My Jedi Master Kenobi failed against Leia. Like, things were just going wrong. And I only put up 1786. Fortunately, they attacked my Rey with Starkiller and failed, and did not do anything else. So I won 1786 to 14.
There you go.
That was all right. Round 3, I did not stream. I lost because of my poor time management. I don't have a great excuse. It got away from me. I didn't do it. And I attacked their Star Killer with my Star Killer and lost that because I was like making dinner at the time. Like there was a lot going on, and I think I set it down and just hit auto, and came back and saw that I lost that. I was like, ugh, that's the wind right out of my sails. No, but I didn't have, even if I would have won that, I didn't have the time. I started it with like 20 minutes left to try and clear it. So I ended up losing 382 to 1075. Oof. My Ray got a hold against a Sith Eternal Emperor, like a full SEE team.
Nice.
And my Jabba held against Slicker and held against Jedi Master Luke. But, they didn't clear me. It was just 1075. But I only put up 382. So, yikes. Now, it's week 3. Let's do this. We got a brand new round. Let's go. I go up against Irasil, and what had happened was I forgot to add a datacron to my Bo-Katan as I went in to face Lord Vader. And Lord Vader is very easy to beat with Bo-Katan. Now, this was a strange Lord Vader that had Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando. But I didn't think, well, that makes it that much scarier. That said, I meant to add a datacron. I just forgot. I just clicked a little too fast and instantly was like, oh, crap. And the reason I dwell on that is that I really beat Maul down, but he had a sliver of health.
Yeah.
And if I would have been able to do a little more crit damage or something, you know what I mean? It would have turned the tide there, because then I went back in with some other teams and I couldn't do it. I went in with bounty hunters, and it was great. I had Insight up over the screen while I was streaming, and people were like, hey, can't see the screen. And I removed Insight as Grief was dying. I didn't take a turn. It was stupid. It was really, 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 really stupid. So whatever. So I put up 929 points and I'm out. And they haven't attacked yet, but it's going to be gross. My Malgus also just completely failed against Reva. Really, really hard fail. And I don't know. At that point, I was so angry that even if I couldn't clearly think to attack, even if it wasn't just RNG. So who knows? All right. Well, we are just about out of time, so I'm going to roll credits soon. But first, we're going to get down to brass tacks and tell the people who you grinded.
See, the nice part is we actually didn't do this part already, so you are actually still, this is new information to you.
Brand new.
Unless you read it on the screen, but...
I don't read things.
Right. All right, so it doesn't feel like a lot here. And to be honest, another thing I'm going to gripe about is the fact that the drop rates for me were, again, I was getting punished, but it was a rough week for me. So, Death Trooper... This is not a lot. So we went from 45 out of 65 up to a whopping 57 out of 65.
No, that is not a lot.
That's not a lot. And then Enoch, 1 out of 65 up to 15 out of 65. And yes, that's with refreshes. And that is everyday refreshes. Night Trooper, 46 out of 100 up to 71 out of 100. So we...
Okay.
Did a little bit better on that one. That's
something there. Yeah.
We're getting there. But Great Mother, we got a couple extra, so that was great. So she's at 15 out of 30, still sitting at gear 9. that's kind of a rough spot. Got a lot of Cairo going for that one. Now, Morgan Nesbeth, she was Relic 5 last week. Now she's up to Relic 7, which is really nice. It feels good to get her done, get her out of the favorites, and really can't do much with her until Great Mothers start to actually be farmable and where we need to go. And man, it'd be great if that was like Cantina, wouldn't it?
Oh man, that would be something.
It would be.
I would be shocked, but I would accept that offering.
100%. Now, did get to say about my Luthen. I'm actually really, really enjoying this character. And so he went from gear 10 up to Relic 5. And I feel like he's a lot like Cat. You don't really need him any higher at the moment. So I'm going to keep him at Relic 5. And man, that team that I have, it's Mon Mothma, Kyle, Luthen, Cassian, and then Cara Dune. It's really like not bad. And so kind of nice because then I put the other, Rogue One team and in with Leia. So it works out. No Zetas this time, no Omicrons. My next Omicron will be Luthen. Haven't decided on which one. I think it's going to be his basic ability. Gives him that 25 speed every time he uses it, up to 100. And he's my second fastest non-Galactic Legend character. And so Cat is first, and then he's second. So he's second, maybe. I don't know. It's later than we normally are. So words, verbs.
I think he is.
He is. There you go. All right. So that is not very much. I hope drop rates are going to be better. So I really need to know and hear who you grinded.
Well, speaking of drop rates, let me flex for a second here because I was shocked that yesterday I got 2 Omicrons in one day.
Whew.
And that just feels good, like from Cantina. Then today I got another one. And my jaw literally dropped. I was like,
really?
And then I got another one. I've gotten 4 in 2 days.
Wow. That is just
no wonder the rest of my life is falling apart.
I know, right? You used up all the good in your life for 4 Omicrons.
And I'd do it again. No. Okay, so that was really cool. Let's see, Ahsoka requirements. First, all right, Night Trooper went from 22 up to 49 out of 100. Death Trooper Peridia from 53 out of 65 up to 12 out of 85. And then Enoch went from 28 out of 30 up to 24 out of 65. So they're all trucking along. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Great Mothers went from 5 up to 3 out of 65. I have more than you because I bought one pack.
Makes sense.
And then Morgan Elsbeth, I took her from Relic 6 up to 7, so I'm done with her. Shin and Marek, just chilling. Big chilling. So here's some fun stuff that I did, right? Like I was saying, looking at those teams that maybe you've struggled with or maybe you just want to give a little extra juice to, I now that I'm done with Morgan Elsbeth, I'm like, wow, I can just go after signal data. And I'm kind of at a spot right now where I should be saving it, but I'm not gonna. So I took Jedi Knight Luke from Relic 7 up to Relic 8.
Nice.
Because my man hits hard, and I like that about him, and I want to see more of that. I also looked at the Treya team that I've been pulling along at Relic 3 for years now.
Yeah.
And I thought, this has gone wrong a couple times, and especially like using it against Gungans. They hit hard enough that if they target the wrong person, you're completely screwed.
Oh yeah.
So I decided to take them all up to Relic 5. I had Talon at Relic 5. The rest were all 3, and Cyan was 4 for some reason. I don't know why I had him at 4, but anyways, I pushed him up to 5, pushed Oppress from 3 to 5, Nihilus from 3 to 5. Treya is my last one that I still have to do that for. And I definitely want to do her because she she's got like that bonus protection thing going on, but at her core, she's kind of squishy. So I'm doing it really for survivability because like Nihilus, who cares how hard he hits? He deletes people, but only if he survives.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. And honestly, I'm kind of excited to see, I might take a press up to 7 for funsies because like he's kind of fun to play.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't think I did any Zetas this week, did I? If I did, I'm sure it was a stupid one. Last week I did tactical deployment, which, I mean, it's obscenely stupid. But I did an Omicron this week, as I was alluding to earlier, bolstering those teams that are crucial for success. And I put an Omicron on Captain Drogon. It doesn't change my strategy, but it just makes me feel a little better that my Leia team is tougher.
Yeah.
In a mirror match, one team has an Omicron, the other doesn't. I'm more likely to win that because I'm just hitting a little harder, clearing debuffs, bigger health, all that. So anyways, that's what I spent my resources on. Much better than last week when it was Gideon's leader ability that's never, ever, 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 ever getting used. That's all we got for you this week. It may not be the best advice, but at least we didn't recommend you record half of an episode without actually recording it. If you want to continue the conversation, join our Discord server. It's linked in the show description. You can become a real live Jawa by supporting us on Patreon and share your thoughts by leaving us a podcast review. Big thanks also go out to Pabuapa and SWGoH.gg and SWGoHevents.com for providing all the hard data we misinterpret weekly. Thanks for tuning in, and may the Force and RNG be with you.